in and redo that whole structure. So that's something I'm willing to coordinate and do with the railroad, and then also upgrade every single crossing all the way to Moffett to get the water out, if you let me give you a little. So, but I will say this, because I've tried to say this at every meeting, before I even flip a switch on a pump, I'm going to start at the Missouri and work back, including Mar Ranch. You got anyone here know where Mar Ranch is? Anybody? No. Okay, go into Bismarck on the interstate, see Mackenzie Slough, all the water to the, as you're going there off to the left, you look to the right, see the water coming under, old washed out road where there's a ranch right there. That's where North and South Apple Creek meet. So all the water from Mackenzie, Slough, Alkaline, Long Lake, Sibley, Horsehead that comes down, meets and convenes right there, including the old railroad dam in Sterling that breached in 1982. So all that water has to make it through their land. So we got to make sure that that stays open and free so water can get out. So it's going to take someone and a group, whether it's a combined joint effort, mutual agreement of understanding across counties in the region, maybe even different townships. What does that operational management look like? Administrative rule, when do I turn on the pump? When do I shut it off? So we know that it's not going to be, operated during the flood season, the snow melt thawing season. So when do we start? What is that level? What determines that? Those are all questions that, people like you, people over at this table, people at the steering committee, your neighbors in the neighboring county have to come together and decide. So there's a lot of moving pieces. Hopefully that answers some of the questions. Since we're on the topic, if you guys, I know, man, the hot button's always Crystal Springs. So I'll open it up. Go ahead, fire away. Including commissioners, emergency manager, anything? You want to look at my binder? I got it this time. Anything? Any questions on the AEM data? You guys see the helicopters? Remember we talked about that a little bit? So yeah, all that data is live now. We know where the water's at. It confirmed a lot of what we found. We know actually how the potentiometric surface of the water, that's a fancy term for if we go out and we look at the land, we can see the topography of the land. I can strip away that land and look at the topography of the groundwater. I can tell you exactly the depth, where it's at. One better, I can tell you which way it's flowing. So that's all from that big helicopter coming around and all of the groundwork and the data from the state. We compiled everything, and that's what we're able to do. So it's pretty impressive. This what we're doing has not been done before.
Can anybody, regular people, look at the live data?
Yeah, so everything that I just told you that was done, we've made that available on Stutsman County's website. Matter of fact, Charlie, were you at the last public information meeting? All that information from that meeting is shared on Stutsman County's page. And was that one recorded as well? That meeting?
The last one was in Steel. That one was recorded. Yeah. That one.
So you guys could go and watch that. And you could get the other side, all the if you got any numbers guys out there, any engineers? So, okay, never mind. That's the one to watch. I'm trying to stay out of engineer mode right now and talk to. They say know your audience. I'm trying to be there. So, any other? Yes.
One question: have they taken an honest look at what
if it would be feasible to take this to the James River?
Yes, we've had 2 routes directly to the James River.
But they haven't really got into it the depth that they have coming this way.
We have. We know exactly where, we've actually gone the exact route that the line would lay, what it would cost to pump, the size of pump, the mile of pipe, the different classes of pipe, because you got to overcome the head height from the elevation. So I need higher pressure piping, so we got to go up class size in piping. So that has a cost to it. And then your head loss from pumping higher and longer. Head loss is how much power, your reduction in your losses in a pipe. So you got to make up for that with power. So that's a cost. And then you get into going north up to, we hear a lot about, well, what about the Red River Supply, the big pipeline that's going up in the north? Well, that's not going to be operational for minimum 10 years. And then that goes to the Red River and goes north. That has international significance. And again, you're looking at a benefit, the cost jumps 4-fold. And that's not even including easements and other options. It just quickly becomes not feasible. And it's also not the natural course of water. So there's multiple reasons, but at a feasibility level, you kind of look at them all with the same lens, and pretty quickly you get down to 2, and then you find your preferred. There's always one that's more appealing. And I will say that there are a couple of areas, Karen, yours is one of them, where there's going to have to be significant work to improve those areas for that water to come through. So the Wolfs, Benzes, Adams, Keisters. Yes?
Yes, at the last informational meeting, the engineer said Long Lake is not my problem. And that is completely wrong, because Long Lake is a problem.
Well, it's not.
If you don't start there, none of this water can come, because it can't go.
I agree with you. I agree with what you're saying, but to his point, and I know what you're talking about, it's not his problem because he's speaking, we're contracted through Stutsman County. That's not a Stutsman County issue. The impacts are Kidder County residents, but the outlet of that is in Burley County. So that's why, and we understand the implications, that's why us stepping on the toes, can I say peeing in the Wheaties? Am I allowed to say that? Okay, well, I just did. Of the federal government is a big deal, because we know it's a problem. Like for me, to overstep the state and go right to the federal government, it's something I've never done, nor do I ever want to do. I need a very good reason to do it, and we did it. Why? Because it's important to you guys. None of this happens without taking a good, honest look at the refuge. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, you have to be able to move the water into the drain.
100%.
If you can't move the water through, I can tell you it's dead on the line.
I am not disagreeing. I thought I said that earlier when I said I'd start from the Missouri and work back.
Right, that's not what the engineer told me. Engineer said Long Lake is not my problem.
Right.
But it is his problem, because if you don't take care of Long Lake, if they are, I mean, Long Lake, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife doesn't give a shit about us. I can tell you that right now. All they care about is the next job.
Yeah, I really want to. I agree with you. How do I say face here? This,
Waiting for the letter to come back from Long Lake that you guys sent them, that's what you're waiting on.
well, yes, we're waiting on the letter to come back from the federal government, but people have, I think there's this notion that with Crystal Springs Watershed, this project, that everyone can get all their problems fixed. That's not the case. That isn't a blanket for me and Mike Gunch and Houston Engineering and Stutzman County to come in and hug all of Kidder County and say, we're going to look at everything and fix everything. That's not doable. You guys have a water board, you guys have an engineer, and you guys have a commission. Those are the routes available. Those are the ones you need to pursue. Okay? We understand that, yes, along this corridor, this path, there are certain things that we're going to have to own and take responsibility for. That's understood. You know, do I come in and eat early here and then happen to sit next to Billy Adams and have an hour-long conversation? Do I think that's coincidence? No. I got 1,000 stories like that. So, yeah.
So who flips the bill for all this work?
Well, right now, it's Stutzman County put up the funding, the mill levies, which they're holding at in a general account at the county level for their portion of the engineering for the project. Then we got commitments from FEMA, and then also state cost share from DWR. And then there's also, we've had verbal, soft commitments, I'll call them, from the railroad, Worthington Northern Santa Fe. And then I'll be speaking with senators and representatives from District 12, 28, 29, and I'll be reaching out to 14. And they want to meet and they want to be briefed on possible legislation to go forward to fund water projects in this area due to the nature of the watershed and the continuing rise of the aquifers. So there's some legislative wheels in motion, per se, but broader picture. But just this project, the funding sources for the engineering are all but secured. And that's right now and no cost to Kidder County. So any improvements would be paid for by the project.
I have to ask once again, is there as much collateral damage going the other way as there is coming here? And everybody in this building knows that Water Lake, they got it into the Red River, and then or the Missouri River, then you're dealing with the Corps engineer. Do you think that water is ever going to move from here? Honestly, do you think it's ever going to another entity, and then you're dealing with the federal government, and pretty soon the water has to go to the river. And we all know you can't even put a pea in the river without getting going to prison.
Well, that's where in the preliminary engineering report you get into the regulatory piece.
Can you tell me, is there much collateral damage going east as there is going bringing the water west?
The impacts to the east.
To the James River is bringing it this way. Are you going to put as much farmland and pasture land out of commission as you are going if you take it the other direction? I know it's going to cost more. That's what the engineer said. It's going to cost way more to go that direction.
I'll tell you right now today, if I were to take that water and put it in Marion, you would have more damage than you would right now. You know what earlier I just had referenced Horsehead, it's down 6 inches. We'll even say 4 inches, but it's down much more than that. Long Lake, the last time I checked, which was about a week ago, there was about 6 3/4, we'll call it 6 inches of room. That's 35 square miles. 6 inches, that's a lot of water, that's a lot of acre feet. If I was to take all of Crystal Springs, that Ruly Lake, Stink Lake, Crystal Springs, pump all the water out of, for 1 year, 120 to 180 day cycle, pumping, 24 hours a day, take it down 1.5 feet. It's 1.5 inches of water, one shot. I could put that water in, all that water, one season, boom, right now, and it'd be 1.5 inches of water. In the last 3 weeks, you've lost 6 inches on Long Lake. It's come down 6 inches. So would you have any problem with me putting 1.5 inches of water in there today?
I think what her biggest concern is they're right at the end of Lake
Yep.
Ewa. And it's gotta, something's gotta be done right there to move it to Long Lake.
Right,
You addressed to that.
Yeah,
kind of.
yeah, absolutely. And that's why I mentioned their last name as well as others. I think we're getting into a little bit of a personal space, and this is a discussion I'm fully willing to
I'm
have.
trying to find out
Yeah.
why it can't do some other projects. I mean,
Yeah.
you know that we're not gonna get it in the long lane. You said, even if you go, and I'm glad you're going, because somebody's got to talk to them. But do you think it's gonna get done overnight, talking to Washington, the wildlife, and these guys? And at the first meeting, they said they'd never stopped any of that water. They freaking got laughed out of the meeting.
No, if they're beyond their permit, there's legal
You
ramifications.
start dealing with them, we're not gonna get it moved overnight.
They're looking to buy easements. If they got easements for water, then there's no issue. The water can be there. But if they don't have easements, then that's another issue. So, and I know they're out there looking to buy easements. I know that.
I'm going to ask you one
We
question,
know
but
everybody's
you
got a
probably
problem.
don't know
I
the
don't want
answer.
one person to have one worse than the other, but it's got to keep moving.
Yep.
That's the answer.
No, absolutely, Karen, I want you to keep advocating.
Jan.
Jan, sorry.
Whoever gave Long Lake Refuge the permission to put that stupid dam over there by the headquarters to hold all this water in Long Lake in the first place? Years ago, back in the 70s and even all through the 80s, there was never water in Long Lake out here at all. It was always dry. Guys grazed it, hated it, done whatever. There's most of the people in this room know this.
Yeah.
They put that stupid dam over there. Whenever they done that, that's when the water all backed up.
So,
Yeah, whoever gave permission to do this, and then backed water up on all the private land all over.
so the dam, I think you're talking about isn't a dam, it's a spillway. It's where
Spillway, however you want to say
it's
it.
where the gates are, and those gates were replaced like for like, same height, same elevation, all they did is added a control structure at the gates, which have been wide open for who knows how long. I think 3 years, Jared said. Jared Newton, the wildlife refuge manager. That structure is there, it's flowing, but it's susceptible to a lot of environmental issues like wind. Or when Long Lake Creek is ripping from Goose and North McKenna, Napoleon, coming down and basically short cycling and flowing right out the outlet, right in through Moffett. Then you get backflow through the main bridge and backflow through the gates. You go out there, I got video of it, 3 feet a second, going backwards. So yeah, that's part of the reason you have issues on that northeast side of Long Lake, up by your place. So you got it, and then they added the rocks to the outlet, which that's a flat area. That whole area you have less than 20 inches of drop, and they put 18 inches of rock in the inlet of the outlet structure to artificially raise Long Lake Refuge. Well, that wasn't permitted. And now you're holding more water back. Now you're flooding out residents. I'd be pissed. Sorry, I'm dropping a lot of stuff I shouldn't say. But I just want to be honest with you guys. You know, hopefully this is, can I be a little more casual than a commission meeting? I'm sorry, I'm looking at the commissioners. It's just,
Water doesn't seem like much, and yes, the income would accept that. But we also asked at the meeting, what about water coming from Lake Henry, Lake Isabel, that wasn't part of their feasibility study, and it wasn't his problem. That water comes our place.
Right, so when we get, look, do you know how much it costs for me to go out and look at one system, one culvert?
But
So,
basically, he said, one guy said, do you realize that all the water from Lake Henry, the alkaline lake down there, Lake Isabel, comes over there also? So if we get this 1.5 inches plus all of that, yeah, we're gonna notice it.
right, so what have you guys done? But forget Crystal Springs, I'm out of the picture, we're out of the picture. I mean, I'll still be here because I want to help people with water issues, permits, whatever else. Crystal Springs is just one project. What are you going to do right now about alkaline that's draining, coming back through the backside of a cemented in 18-inch culvert on Isabel?
It doesn't do it. We sat at a public meeting like this, we didn't want bigger culverts to go in. It was going to ask us how we felt about it. While we were at that meeting talking about it, they unloaded the culverts over in Dawson. So don't ask us to trust the state with anything.
Well, I'm just saying what is being done right now? Because if that's an issue, what's actively being done about that today to address it?
It didn't do any good. We tried the first time to stop it. What are you supposed to do?
Who's on our water board, Gerald?
Like I said, I feel terrible for those
Yeah.
people there as much as I do for myself, but there's got to be a better answer than having it stop and get it going.
Right.
We'll give you a moment, hang on, we'll give you a moment after we're all done with the speakers. We're stretching out quite a while, and then the commissioners can take questions.
These are good questions. I appreciate it. I want questions like this, but we're getting into a space where I'm getting uncomfortable because I'm being forced to address, questions that aren't mine, that are really more county related and outside of the project. And really what I wanted to do is give a overall, all-encompassing watershed update that we're seeing a big reprieve. That's number one. We're seeing the water come down. That's not permanent. So don't get a false sense of security. Two, if you have a permit for irrigation that you haven't been granted it and you're still waiting on it, let me know. We'll see what we can do. And then the third thing is, if you guys do have any water-related issues outside of the project, come and talk to me about the project or send me an email. I'll be more than happy to answer them. That you need to go to your commission and your water resource board, because they should have those answers. And if they don't, they'll get them. Okay? Thanks for your time.
Thanks.
Yep.